This is a bit of an oddity for Battle of the Ports. Space Harrier II is technically a Mega Drive game running on an arcade cabinet known as the Megatech. The Megatech hardware uses Japanese Mega Drive style cartridges which are not compatible with an actual Mega Drive or vice versa. The arcade board features 8 cartridge slots and Mega Drive and Master System hardware. The Master System hardware controls the menu screen which lists the games available, gameplay instructions and a short synopsis of each game, while the Mega Drive hardware plays the games. Unlike traditional arcade games, you pay for time rather than credits. Each coin will give you 2.5 minutes of game time as standard. Not very long in my opinion. Reaching a game over screen doesn't end the play session, and players can start over or choose a different game, as long as there was some playtime remaining.
Get ready.
The first home version of Space Harrier II was on the Mega Drive. This was a launch game in Japan and also 1 year later in the US. I'm not sure if it's my imagination, but this version sure looks less smooth than the version running on Megatech hardware, even though the hardware running the games is practically the same. In Space Harrier II, we are treated to more of the same, but far less appealing than the original arcade game in every way. Stages are less inspiring than the original and the music is totally forgettable. The length of the game is also pretty short, with only 12 stages plus the final boss run. Where the original Space Harrier just oozes quality, this follow-up doesn't offer anything at all. Well, maybe the clear speech samples are worth remembering. The first of the Euro home ports is on the Atari ST. This version was handled by Grandstand, and in all honesty, they've done a reasonable job. The game can run in 50 or 60Hz modes. We're looking at the 60Hz mode here, and it runs pretty smoothly. You can also control the game with a mouse if that's your thing. The music is reasonable, but the sound effects and speech are awful. We can also tell that this game is running with fewer colours than the Mega Drive version. This port also has a few problems. The game does show signs of slowdown here and there, and the collision detection can be very unfair at times. In fact, so bad you can clearly see that you're not even touching whatever killed you. Still, issues like this are to be expected from a Euro arcade port. think it's safe to say that the Amiga version is a port of the ST, and it sucks ass big time. First, in typical Amiga fashion, we can only choose between music or sound effects, not both. Obviously, I've gone with the music, which isn't that great. As I'm sure you've already noticed, the game runs slowly and even slows down. And remember, I mentioned the poor collision detection in the ST version? Well, it's even worse here. Definitely not a port of Space Harrier II you want to be playing. Holy crap, this is actually pretty impressive for an Amstrad CPC. Yes, it runs slow, but it plays well. The graphics are colourful and the music rendition of the Space Harrier II theme sounds excellent on the CPC. Even the collision detection works well. The only downside is that this copy I'm using kept crashing after stage 1. So unfortunately I can't show you any further into the game. Based upon the Amstrad CPC port, but much worse, is this ZX Spectrum port. There is no music and next to no sound effects either. The game does play at a reasonable speed, mind you. Unfortunately, the difficulty in seeing the enemies due to them bleeding in with the background can be problematic. There's also an MSX port which looks just like this ZX Spectrum port. Let's finish up with the Commodore 64 port. Well, there's not much on the positive side with this one. I was hoping this would be a good port, but sadly it's not. The graphics are very basic looking, lacking any detail at all. Everything is rather choppy in movement, and you can't have sound effects and music at the same time. Still, at least it's a little more entertaining than the specky port. Not by much, mind you. And let's take a look at all those versions of Space Harrier II running side by side.